Alright, hello, welcome back everyone. Been a while since I last talked, but today I'm going to share with you a lesson that I created for my content area of social studies. It is covering one of America's most controversial, probably the most controversial conflict, the Vietnam War. Now, in a way that to make that more interesting and ensure a little more critical thinking, I created what was known as the Situation Room, which basically the directions are you're going to step into the shoes of people within the U.S. government on how to respond to situations that you are presented with during the Vietnam War. This includes like military strategy, domestic strategy, and diplomatic strategy. You'll be presented with a situation and a list of solutions, and then you choose which solution you would be able believe would work best and explain why you believe it would be the best. And you'd also debate it with other classmates and then compare it to what the U.S. actually did and explain what you think was better or not. Like, here's an example. Well, let's start with the very first situation. Vietnam has declared independence from France under a communist named Ho Chi Minh. And France, who used to rule over Vietnam, has refused to accept this and is invading. The people of Vietnam are overwhelmingly hostile to the French. While France has been a great ally, Ho and his Viet Minh helped our government fight against the Japanese in World War II and views the USA as a symbol of hope. What should we do? And then you'd have four choices to choose from and, of course, explain why you think it's the best. You got A, recognize Vietnam to gain a key ally in Southeast Asia. B, offer limited aid to France to stop communist influence. C, ignore the issue entirely. Or D, organize a diplomatic solution to try and satisfy both sides. Now, the objectives that in fact come with this would be basically evaluate decisions made by the U.S. during the course of the war, and rationalize if it was the best way forward. Compose a rationale for what would you do if you were placed in a situation like this, and trying to get into understanding like why people at that time made the decisions that they did, and understand what drew the USA into the Vietnam War and why it ultimately ended up in failure. There was no longer a South Vietnam. We left. Alright, I have a PowerPoint that was created to go along with it, as well as like a worksheet to hand out that students fill along as we go by situation. In total, there's about 15 to 16 situations, and to give like a start to like ease them in, we'll give like a pre-Kahoot, which is basically testing like their previous knowledge of the Vietnam War, just to understand where these students are at. And once they have basically chosen their answers, we put them together in random groups and have them discuss like what answer they chose and why, so they can rationalize it to their peers. And then after that, they'll rationalize it to me. They'll get into groups where they chose the same rationale now, and then discuss it with me before being reviewed what the U.S. actually did, and then discussing that further. This activity encourages critical thinking by putting them in position of leadership in the U.S. government during a transformative time and conflict via role play. Role play being a significant way to ensure critical thinking, much more than, say, reading it in a textbook or a lecture. Sure, so, and after they complete, we'll redo the Kahoot and see how much they have grown from where they started. Alright, that is the lesson. It's in the Situation Vietnam War. And that's all I gotta say for it today. Hey, hope you found this enlightening. Have a great rest of your day.